GLA 250. It has about 15,000 miles on it. Again, the maintenance program with Mercedes-Benz, even though I spent a lot of money for it, $2,500 approximately. It does not include tire rotation, but it does include things which make no sense. This is my first Mercedes-Benz, so it's all new to me. But in my previous cars, Toyotas, the maintenance package included tire rotation and a bunch of other things that are really useful. So here we go, I'm going to start. Okay, here's the things that you're going to need in order to do the tire rotation. I purchased a package that included the wrench with a handle on it, and the handle extends. There's an extension right in there. There's also the scissors jack, and it's going to go under the car in an area right around in here, right there, near the wheel well. And then there's a second one up on the front that comes up in here, right there, again. And there are areas in which you put this plug. I bought this plug as well. It does not come with a car. This plug prevents damage when you jack up the car using the scissor jack. I also bought two floor stands so that I could drop the car back down and support the car while I go to the opposite wheel. Also, when I purchased the car, it came with bolts. This whole package was like $100. You probably do a whole lot better if you bought one on your own, but they included in the package, the purchase package of the car. This is critical. This is the lock so that people can't steal your tires. So always keep this in your car because you don't want to be out on the road, have a flat tire, and not be able to take the wheels off. I didn't know that. Nobody told me about that. And of course, there's a set of gloves so that you don't get your hands all messed up. Okay, so we'll move on from there. Okay, I put the chock box on the other side of the car. Okay, I've loosened the lugs on this one, that one, that one, and that one. This one here has the special head on the bolt, and that's where you need to use the key in order to get the lug nut off. Also, by the way, you have to be careful that you don't over tighten because you'll strip the key. So okay, I'm putting the key in place. It's now in place. I'm going to put the wrench over top and then find where the key is going to lock it. Wrong wrench. Okay, I'll be right back. I need to flip the wrench over so that it uses the other side. Thank you. Okay, I've done that, and now I'm going to set the jack. As you can see, I have the plug in the hole that protects the body, and I put the jack underneath. And I will then start cranking the car up. My intention is to crank the car up so that the wheel is just coming off of the ground. Okay, I'm cranking the car up using the handle like so. Okay, and then I'm testing here to see if the tire has lifted off the ground. There's no need for me to look under there, just use a piece of paper. Well, so much for the jack stands. They're not going to fit under there. So what I was thinking of doing is putting these heavy concrete blocks underneath. And then on top of that, put some lumber. Okay, next step. Okay, the wheel is off the ground right now, as you can see. But now the problem is that I need to lift the car more so that I can get the lumber underneath the support, the strut support. And I hope that does it. Okay, I got the lumber up against the wheel, about a half inch away from the wheel, and it's sitting on the lumber. What I'm going to do is remove the jack before I take the wheel off. That way, if I have any problems, I'll be able to back out the problem. Okay, I backed off the jack and I laid a lot of the weight onto the blocks. And the tire is still off the ground. So I'm going to back it off some more and I'm going to check it out. Make sure that it's secure. Okay, I took the wheel off and everything looks good. It looks like it's well supported. And I'm going to do the front wheel now. Okay, I jacked up the front of the car and I lifted the car off the floor, and I'm ready to take this wheel off and then put on the rear wheel in the front. Here's a tip on removing the bolts. The first one you should remove is the one with the key. If the wheel jogs as you're taking it off, this is the most difficult one to fool with. So take that one off first. And then take the ones on top off first. And then leaving this one for the last. Because as the wheel falls off the car, you could put your foot on the bottom of the wheel and easily turn the lug. Okay, at this point, I've got the wheel back on, and I did the front wheel for a good reason. There's a lot more in the suspension, and it's easier to do the rear wheel first and then do the front wheel. I'm also going to drop the jack because the jack is not as strong as the support that I currently have on the back of the car. So I did the front wheel first in putting the wheels back on. Okay, I'm ready to put the wheel back on. And what happened is that I lost the puck. It goes inside the wheel well. Don't go under the car that's on the left. It's easier to go and grab something and pull it out rather than to put yourself in danger. Also, I'm going to support the car with this second jack before I even attempt to put the wheel on. If something should happen, it's a good idea to have as many safety devices as possible in place. Okay, here's another tip. I'm using the screwdriver to align the bolt lock with the plate. Now, I'm going to try one more time, but if it's too difficult, what I'm going to do is put the car back onto the jack. As you remember, when I lifted the car needed to go higher so that I could put the blocks underneath. So that takes the tire well off the ground and much more difficult to handle when you're trying to align the bolt. Now, another way of doing this too is you buy a bolt that has no head and then slide the wheel over the threaded rod. Okay, I put the chalk box on the other side of the car, and I'm now going to do the side that I haven't done yet. Okay, what I have done is I took out the keyed lug, and I loosened all of the other lugs on the front wheel. I've loosened again all the lugs and took out the key lug. I have in place my jack, and I'm ready to lay the wheel on the block. The jack is not yet, is only in position, it's not jacked up yet. My interest is to find out how long it's going to take to do this job. Okay, I finished the job. It took 31 minutes to do this one side. Okay, so you have to remember too, I don't have the equipment that Mercedes-Benz has. So I would think that the whole job should take an hour if you put your nose to the grindstone. I didn't take any breaks, but I didn't take any risks either. So everything was done legitimate, figure about an hour job. I would have spent at least that waiting in the weight room just to be next in queue. So you figure another hour and probably 2 hours of sitting around in a tire store to get the wheels rotated. It's debatable as to whether it's even worth the rotation. At least not as frequent as they're asking you to do it. Okay, one more discussion and I'll finish this film. Hi, there's one last issue that I'd like to cover, and it is the cost of the tire based on mileage. If you assume that the tire costs to replace all four is $900, and you assume that a tire rotation is $60, $60 represents the amount that Mercedes quoted me for rotating the tires. If you come down and you lay out a graph based on mileage, if the tires burned out at 30,000, they burned out at 40,000, all the way to 70,000 miles. And that the tire rotations were done at 5,000, 10,000, or 15,000 miles. If you rotate every 5,000 miles, in 30,000 miles, you would have rotated the tires 6 times. 6 times 60 is 360. If you add to the cost of the 360 the cost of the tire, you'll get $1,260. If you were to take 1260 and divide it by 30,000, you'd get 4.2 cents per mile. Plotting this information here over the distance that the tire lasted, you would get these charts, these line graphs. The top line is the Mercedes line, where you're following their recommendation of 5,000 miles rotation. Under that, the amber line is rotating the tires every 10,000 miles. The green line is rotating the tires every 15,000 miles. At 35,000 miles, for example, rotating the tires every 15,000 miles, it would have cost you 3 cents per mile. Going out this way on 3 cents per mile and intersecting the 5,000 mile rotation, you would have to get 50,000 miles to be an equivalent. Let's extend that to the full life of the tire. Let's say that the tire in the Mercedes approach went to 70,000 miles. Going backwards, at 15,000 miles, approximately 47,000 miles would be an equivalent. Both tires would have cost 2.5 cents per mile. My question is that 7,000 miles per year, which I am doing, the tires would be 10 years old before I needed to replace them. It's good that you replace the tires every 5 years. So my expectation would be 35,000 miles anyway. So that in 5 years I would have 35,000 miles on the car. So it really pays for me not to rotate the tires every 5,000 miles, but to rotate them every 15,000 miles. Thanks for listening, and happy roads to you. Bye now, and thanks for listening to the entire episode.